Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Gemini energy. And for this round, we're using the tea leaf fortune card. So definitely going to have to get some tarot on it to help fill out the story of what's going on in Gemini energy. And we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people have free will. Some people harness high vibe Gemini energy. Some people harness a more worldly focused Gemini. And some people harness a shadowy Gemini energy. And whether you're a Gemini sun sign or not, we all harness Gemini energy. And if you harness high vibe Gemini energy, you'd like to probably hang out with other people who harness high vibe Gemini energy. If you're a more worldly focused Gemini that you harness that energy in a more worldly way, you're probably going to want to hang out with other people who harness their Gemini in a more worldly energy. So just listen to your intuition about where you are in the story, and listen to your intuition about where you think other people in your life, how they harness their Gemini energy. So let's see. The reason for the reading is the dog close up. Pleasure with a close friend. So there might have been, the dog kind of represents somebody who you thought would be a loyal friend, who would go on a journey of life with you, and you might have realized that they weren't someone who can go with you. So you're willing to let go of someone in your life. Then we have 3 cards not showing themselves, which can talk about people who harness this energy in a shadowy way. You're cutting them out of your life. In high vibe, it would mean that you're doing this work behind the scenes and other people don't know it. So we have the haystack in reverse. Karma, you will reap what you have sown. And in negative, I would say that means that you're making good decisions in your life. You're not getting karma in your life. Clearing yourself of karma, which is growing and maturing yourself and loving yourself. So you're not taking action out of pride and ego and fear and insecurity, because our shadow nature is kind of represented by the devil, our more immature, impulsive nature, where we have lessons to learn, and you're not taking action in a way that would bring negative consequences in your life. Dolphin, financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past. And the dolphin also talks about aligning with like love and hope and faith and belief, and connecting in with your emotions and your intuition, which money and love and all those things are different forms of abundance in the world. So I think there's people in your life who don't realize that, because you're not showing this, that you aren't making bad decisions. You're listening to your intuition to guide you, love to guide you. And then we have torch, which is turning upright. Spiritual development, enlightenment, awareness, and understanding. Again, I think you're doing that work within yourself behind the scenes. Other people in your life might not know that you're doing that work. And then we have the teapot, deep friendship with someone of the same sex. And the way I interpret that is that we have our dualistic nature. We can operate more from our ego, which in tarot is represented by the masculine energy. Just because we all take action in masculine energy, we can all present ourselves whatever way we want to in the world. But what is the truth of who we are internally, emotionally? And the feminine figures in tarot talk about who we are emotionally and what our intentions are. So I think high vibe people are aligning with people who emotionally are aligned with love and hope and faith and belief. Basically, in a relationship with someone who's on the same page as you versus someone who's not on the same page as you. And we have the wheel card, indecisiveness, allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. Well, I guess that'll be interesting to see what clarifiers come out with that. Because generally the wheel, it kind of reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune in tarot, and it's kind of going along with the flow. We might not be sure of where we're going or what's going to happen, but we're willing to go with the flow to see how things, what the divine has planned for our life. And some of you have already went through this process, and you've already cut some people out of your life, and you're more shadow nature that might want you to live more recklessly, and other people in your life who might have been in their shadow nature. Other people are just getting to that point. So let's go see what is the story Haystack, karma, you will reap what you have sown. Oops, I see I have a card in reverse in there. I'm going to flip that. It was the Emperor was in reverse, and the Emperor is... you could have cut some people out of your life who could have been bossy or controlling in their Aries energy. They don't have to be an Aries sun sign. But someone who you thought would be a good leader and a loyal friend wasn't. And so they were upside down in the deck. And now we're turning it upright. You're making good decisions in your life. And, you know, that will cause you not to have karma. You won't get lost in the haystack of life, basically. The Ten of Swords, the Tens talk, in High Vibe it talks about completing a cycle. And it has to do with the Empress energy. Some of you could have been dealing with a Libra Taurus, or you yourself could have previously been maybe too giving and nurturing to people. Because in High Vibe, the Empress is about being very loving and abundant and generous and giving. But if you realized you were being loving and giving and nurturing to people who harness kind of shadowy Gemini energy, because the Ten of Swords is Gemini energy, you could have been in a relationship with people who were backstabbing you. Basically, like, I don't want you to love and believe in yourself. I don't want to do love in Libra Taurus energy. I don't want to have to put work and effort into getting myself balanced and being just and fair in a relationship. Sometimes we can get in relationships with people who harness shadowy Empress energy emotionally, where they could be more aligned with their shadowy Libra Taurus energy. It's more about being in a relationship because of money or status or image, or they want to be the privileged, pampered person in a relationship where people are supposed to look to them and view them as like a loving person in their life who would be loyal and committed. But then you come to realize that they don't have your best interest at heart. They don't want you to make your life about love and believing in yourself. They could want you to stay in the relationship with them because of the status or the image, or because you don't love and believe in yourself, that you kind of make them like the epitome of like love in your life. Like, how could I possibly live my life without you? You know? And realizing, though, if they don't want you to grow and mature yourself and believe in yourself and give birth to anything new, they're staying in non-life-giving energy, maybe living more from their mind than their heart, and they don't give birth to anything new. It's like, let's live our life just like this. This makes logical, practical sense. It seems just and fair. We have the money, we have the status, we have the image, we have the luxury, the whatever. We're indulging in the things of the world. Let's just keep living our life just like this. Let's not give birth to anything new. Let's not step out of our comfort zone. Let's not listen to our intuition. Let's make our life completely living from our mind and making it about money and materialism and status and image, or you indulging me in a relationship. And it's like, no. I have worked through all my fears and my insecurities and my self-limiting beliefs that I have presently. And I've offered love to those things. And I've put in work and effort to get more balanced within myself. So I'm not going to keep indulging poor behavior in myself. And I'm not going to keep indulging other people who are acting in a shadowy nature, which can be immature, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, materialistic, immature, shallow, petty, envious, jealous, vengeful, whatever. You know, it's like, I want to give birth to something new. I've learned everything I was meant to learn from this life experience. It's time to give birth to something new. And there's some people who refuse to do that. It's like, no, I'm scared of stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm scared of listening to my intuition. I'm scared of love. I'm scared of being just and fair. I'm scared of listening to my intuition to guide me. I let the world guide my decisions. I let my mind guide my decisions. And some people have a lot of fear and insecurity of love, of being vulnerable. They get hurt doing that. So some people decided, you know what? I'm going to live more from my mind than my heart. Emotionally, I think life is all about the world. Staying safe, not getting hurt. I'm going to make my life about money and materialism or indulgence. And you realize that you're not That's not how you want to live your life. So you detach from that person, because we all grow up as children and we grow up in families, and, we're kind of looking for other people to be nurturing and supportive people in our life, where we don't have to learn to love ourselves and face our fears and insecurities and kind of grow and mature ourselves and become more independent, knowing our worth and value, standing on our own 2 feet, being more independent of the world, our ego, our fear, our insecurity. And some people never do that. They stay very much aligned with the world. For the world they look to the world to acknowledge their worth and value. Very codependent on the world. Then they can be very codependent on other people because they haven't learned to love and believe in themselves to free themselves. High vibe energy is about being free from the ego and the fear and the insecurity, and knowing your worth and value enough not to let the world dictate your worth and value. I'm going to choose love. I'm going to treat people with love and respect and treat people the way I want to be treated. And I'm going to be free to live my own life. And there's a lot of people who don't like that. You could have even had some people in your life who really backstabbed and betrayed you because you do love yourself. Shadowy energy represented by the devil. If you have some people who are really make their whole life about creating this illusion about how wonderful their life is, and it's all about ego and image and status and materialism, but they're not independent, they don't like that you love yourself because you're not enslaved and imprisoned to the same things they are. And sometimes that can make people, and especially if they're people who think they have these things of the world, that you should indulge them and want to be in a relationship with them because of those things of the world that they have. Yeah, if you're more independent and you're not willing to stay in a job or relationship for those reasons, yeah, sometimes that brings out their really shadowy side. And then they want to backstab and betray you for the fact that you're not imprisoned and enslaved by the same things they are. So you realized that had to end. And then we have the Dolphin card. And like I say, some of you have already done that. Some people are right now working through all their fears and insecurities of detaching from some people in their life who present themselves as like very loving and nurturing and just and fair, but they could know that the reason why they want to keep moving forward with them in a relationship is more for status and image and money and materialism, or being indulged, and they're doing the work right now to free themselves, to love themselves, to be more independent, having more hope and faith and belief that, relationships shouldn't be because I'm codependent and I'm looking for someone to love me. I shouldn't stay in a relationship because of ego or image or money. There's more to life than that. And the high vibe people are seeing the truth of that, and they're doing this work to learn to love themselves, to be free. The dolphin energy is about being, and that's why it says financial gain, usually coming from something you did in the past. It's also about not giving up on your dreams and having that hopeful, believing nature that I'm not going to settle for less than I deserve. I'm not going to give the things of the world more power in my life. It's just like breaking addiction. We can look to other people like you're the answer to all my problems, just like people look to drugs or booze, and really that's a codependent energy. And then some people abuse that position of power and authority in your life, and then they want you to keep making your life all about them, where you don't listen to your intuition or give birth to anything new. Like, just stay in the relationship with me and let's keep doing this. And it's like, what about being free to live our life? What about stepping outside of our comfort zone? What about listening to our intuition that it's time to move forward in life? And some people will move forward with you at this time, between our adult children and our siblings and our parents and friends and coworkers. Other people don't like to be in relationships where they feel like, it's all about indulging someone, or we stay in a job or relationship just because of the money and the status, but we feel like we're backstabbing our dreams, So the Dolphin card, the Knight of Cups, the World, the Six of Cups, the Nine of Wands, the Five of Wands, and that came out because of the Six of Wands. The high vibe people are taking action in their life. Whatever they've been in was causing them inner conflict. And so they decided to offer love to themselves so they could get out of their inner conflict and take that creative, inspired action to maybe even offer love to their world and themselves. And the world talks about learning a lesson you're meant to learn, and you're able to close out an old chapter. Some people had been offering love to someone who harness shadowy Leo energy, that they present themselves as like a loving, warm, nurturing person, but then kind of seeing the truth that they operate more from pride and ego, emotional defensiveness, and maybe wanting them to keep moving forward with them in the world. But it would be repeating this old pattern. I've been there, I've done that. When are we going to move forward? And finding out that the other people are defensive because they have inner conflict about moving forward in life, not operating from their pride and ego, or where you're in your pride and ego and kind of indulging them. You know, so long as you're in fear and insecurity or codependency, or want the things of the world that they are offering you, but it's maybe not love. You know, so long as we're in our pride and ego about it and defensive of dealing with our own inner conflict of moving away from them, well, then they're happy staying in the relationship. I'm glad you have inner conflict. I'm glad you're defensive. I'm glad you're fearful of giving birth to anything new. This is perfect. Let's stay in the relationship. You know, so as one person in the relationship is doing this work behind the scenes to love themselves, if those people are in a mismatched relationship, the other person is hiding that basically they're indulging and playing in the relationship. This is great. I'm glad you have inner conflict about leaving me. I'm glad you're defensive. I'm glad you're not willing to put an end to this relationship yet. But what some of those prideful people who could be abusing abusing someone who's hopeful and believing and loving in their life, what they don't realize is that the hopeful, believing, loving people are doing this work within themselves to love themselves. They could be a very loving person and used to trying to encourage other people to love and believe in themselves, and they're starting to see that they're sabotaging themselves. Why do I keep trying to get people who have already shown me that they're kind of self-centered or materialistic or prideful or emotionally defensive? Why do I keep repeating this pattern? Why don't I accept that some people are like that, wish them peace, and move on? And some people are starting to realize that I need to stand up for myself, that if I'm someone who harnesses high vibe Leo energy, which is I'm loving, I'm warm, I'm encouraging, I'm creative and inspired and motivated by love. If I see that I'm in relationships with people who love the world, love their ego, like to repeat this old pattern of way of being in relationships, if I want my dreams to come into reality, I better start standing up for myself. And maybe I need to let go of this foundation, because we go from the 9 down to the 5, which is letting go of a 4 of Wands, which was where we did come together with people thinking it was going to be in joy and celebration. And we could have gotten into that relationship because another relationship didn't work out. And so, you know, we were wounded. We had inner conflict about loving and believing in ourselves. So we could have gotten in a relationship with someone else where we were repeating an old pattern again. And some people are just seeing that, oh, wow, I repeated an old pattern. It's like, you know, different people, different faces, but it's like, wow, I have been here before. And some people are waking up to the truth that, oh my gosh, I've been repeating an old pattern. Another situation where people have inner conflict about getting out of their ego, getting out of their fear, getting out of their defensiveness. I can't have my dream come into reality with people like that. And part of it might be because I we all have some lessons to learn. We have to realize what pattern we've been repeating. How are we defensive? How do we sabotage ourselves? Are we willing to take that creative inspired action to get out of our ego? And I think sometimes people can be really loving people, but it's always like to try to get the people who have conflict about love, like, I got a savior complex. I'm going to make these people who don't believe in love, who aren't very balanced, who aren't very just and fair, I'm going to try to bring them over to the other side, And it's like, that's not our job. And, the divine works with people to get them to see the truth. And it takes a long time to get rid of some of those issues that we have within ourselves. If we know people who they're not motivated and inspired by love, and you are someone, good luck trying to get someone who's like that to choose love. Why aren't we working with people who are treating us the way we treat people? And again, it can be because we're repeating an old pattern of the past. If we're used to dealing with people who don't treat us in a just and fair and loving manner, we could be looking, we could have dealt with people in our life who we felt weren't very loving. And it's like we're trying to win. The Six of Wands is about, I was trying to have a victory. I keep being drawn and attracted to people like that because this time I want them to pick me, like to validate my worth and value. I know they're maybe live more from their mind than their heart, that they might be more stubborn or prideful or egotistical, or they might be more just unloving, unjust, unfair, not loyal, not committed. But that's a pattern that I have, and it's outside of my comfort zone to be in relationships with people who do treat me the way I treat people, because I'm not used to being in relationships with people who are like that. And we all like to be in our comfort zone, even if it's with unloving, unjust people. And it kind of is trying to get us to see the light, and we'll keep repeating that pattern until, it's making us defensive. It causes us all this inner conflict. We wanted victory. And it's maybe to see the truth that we can have people that we meet in our life and in our family and from our childhood, our siblings, our parents, our own children. But if they're not working cooperatively with us from a place of love, and if they're operating more from ego or whatever, at what point do we say, I'm done repeating that pattern? I wish you peace. I'm going to keep moving on. And I've learned that if I'm going to invest my time, energy, and effort with people, it has to be with people who are also not operating from ego, who have overcome their more competitive nature or prideful nature or self-centered nature or bossy or controlling nature or entitled nature. I finally realized that the only person we can change and the only person we can offer love and encouragement to people, but they have to make the free will choice themselves to get out of their ego. And if they don't make that free will choice, we should love ourselves enough to not repeat that old pattern, get out of our ego, and wish them peace and move forward in our life. So then, the torch, spiritual development, enlightenment, awareness, and understanding. I do think this card was tipped a different way previously, but now it's upside down. If people aren't motivated and inspired by love and being just and fair in a relationship, tempering their ego or their self-centeredness or whatever, then they don't have that spark, and they're not someone that we can have our dreams come into reality. And, we have 3 wand cards here, and here we have a torch card, which kind of to me represents the wands energy. There could be people in our life, needless, that we love, and some, if it's a romantic interest, it could have been people that you're attracted to. But I think as people are doing this work within themselves, if it's people like just friends and family or whatever, you can always love them. But, it's like, if I have done what I can do to be loving and encouraging to you, sometimes the best thing to do is to lead by example and quit trying to inspire them if you know you've already offered a loving and encouraging and supportive environment and they still had a problem about moving forward with you in a just and fair manner. It's like, I'm done trying to inspire you, and I'm seeing that I can't have a new beginning with you because we operate from different foundations in the Four of Wands. I am motivated and inspired by love and justice and fairness, and you seem to be more motivated with investing in the world and being defensive and repeating these old patterns and still operating from your egoic nature and maybe just caught up in the world of money and materialism and status and image. And if that's what drives and motivates you and is more important to you, that's not what drives and motivates me. I want to be in deep, meaningful, loving relationships. We all put in work and effort to have stability and security and enjoy the finer things in life. But some people are unwilling. They've already put an end. They've already made the free will choice. I'm not doing love. I'm not being just and fair in a relationship. For some people, it's all about the world and ego and image and money and materialism. They defend the competition, which is their more worldly view of life. And we have to see the truth of it. And some of you already did see the truth of it. Some people are just working through it now to see the truth of it. And even though we could have loved those people and wished some of those people would move forward with us, we have to see the truth. The truth is what sets us free. People have free will. Some people are aligned and, it's all about the world. They could get hurt doing love, and some of them aren't willing to do that. And we need to go find the people in the world who are willing to operate from a foundation of love. If, that's what we're driven and motivated by. So tell us about the torch in reverse. Some people right now have been in a relationship with someone who they've been trying to do that loving and encouraging to get them to kind of get out of their more entitled or egoic view of it, to work with them cooperatively, to have good boundaries within themselves against their own fear or insecurities or whatever. And the other people are unwilling to do it, and they're unwilling to work with them in an emotionally loving way. It's like, no, I'm in my pride and ego and I'm defensive. If you want to stay in a relationship with me, you have to do it my way. You're just going to have to deal with your inner conflict about the fact that I live more from my mind than my heart and my Libra energy, and I might be emotionally cold and detached. But by worldly standards, I could look like I'm very successful and victorious in the world. And if you want to stay in a relationship with me, then I guess you're going to have to live more from your mind than your heart and be in regret that you're not going to work together with someone from a foundation of love, because those people haven't dealt with their regrets of the past, and that's what makes them act that way. And some other people are like, I see the truth. If I keep staying in this relationship, I'm going to end up in nothing but regret, because I do believe in love. I am willing. I'm not acting being petty and envious and jealous and competitive and defensive and playing mind games. I'm not being full of myself, but they're somehow acting in that shadowy way. And if I keep staying in a relationship with them, I'm going to be in nothing but regret. I've dealt with my regrets, or I am doing this work within myself to deal with my regrets of the past that would have made me even stay in a relationship or a job like this. And some people are getting ready to speak their truth. And then the flip side of it is sometimes the people who are really motivated by money and materialism and status and image, and they end up finding themselves in a relationship with someone who's not like that. It's like, how the hell? I got in a relationship with this person. I thought they were going to keep repeating, moving forward in life the way I do. And now I see that they kind of have good boundaries against their more worldly, shadowy nature. And that's causing me a problem, because I thought I was getting in a relationship with someone who was on the same page as me. And if some of those people are really driven by, let's go out and let's go keep up with the Joneses and you wear this, and then you should go talk to those people because they know these people. And it's like, I don't even like those people. It's like, that doesn't have anything to do with it, honey. They know these people, and we don't even hang out with people we like. We hang out with people who have the status and the image and the power because we want to seem like we're in that club or we're in that group. And it's all about, looking like we're part of, the politically correct crowd. And, some people are like, oh my gosh, they don't even live like that. And I don't even want to be in a relationship with someone like that. Everybody's driven and motivated by other different things. And the people who want to make their life all about ego and image, those people are thinking of getting out of the relationship they're in because it's not aligned with their truth. I don't want to deal with my issues of the past to be more open to love. I've chosen to derive my sense of worth and value from the world. I want to be in a relationship with other people who do that. I want to be in a relationship with other people who don't deal with their issues of the past, who have decided it's all about ego and image and competing in the world. So both people right now that could be in a mismatched relationship could be feeling that way. But they're both kind of thinking of, they both could have other people that they're, that they would rather work with, that both of them, because they had lessons to learn from each other, they could have gotten drawn and attracted to each other, because I think we do get drawn and attracted to people who we might have similar wounding as, where it is possible for the relationship to work out, and we'll read it from that viewpoint in a moment. But a lot of times, because we have lessons to learn that we haven't learned, we could have rejected some other people in our past because we weren't ready to be more loving. We were kind of in our ego. We were kind of caught up in the illusion of the world. It would have required us to deal with some issues that caused us inner conflict, where we could have thought, I know, I'll just go get in a relationship with someone who kind of reminds me of people from my past, and we're not on different pages. It's not out here, but it kind of makes me think of the Hierophant, which can even be differences in religion, different ethnic groups, different living in different locations, and it's like, what, I think I'll go get in a relationship with someone who's like where I'm from, who likes to live in the country versus the big city, or vice versa. And then we could end up realizing that, because I wasn't previously willing to give birth to something new in my past, I could have rejected some people, and I could have repeated an old pattern, or gotten in a relationship with someone who kind of where I was at that time, and then realizing that I made a mistake, and I could have rejected some people who were more on the same page as me, because maybe I hadn't learned to love myself. Maybe I hadn't learned to stand up for myself and speak my truth. And I had to get in these relationships with other people to get to that point in my life. And both different types of people could be getting to that point. It's just that some people are definitely deciding, maybe to be more in their pride and ego. If a relationship didn't work out in the past, that's it. I'm in my ego about it. They didn't love me. And those people they don't think they'll experience any karmic consequences, that they still think they're the boss, and they might not think there'll be any consequences to their actions. But if they're not listening to their intuition and taking more bold, brave, more balanced action in their life, and they're letting their ego run their life, things won't turn out the way they planned. And so we've all had those lessons to learn, and some people are seeing the truth of it, that when I acted out of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, not willing to step out of my comfort zone, not willing to listen to my intuition, all it did was lead to regret. And I have seen the truth of it. So we have the people in the world who've seen the truth of some aspects of themselves, and the people who are unwilling to see the truth, and they think they're going to keep taking action out of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, immaturity, inner conflict, and they're not willing to detach from an old way of being or even just step out in the world more to speak their truth. And partly it could be because some people won't like it. You know, and when you do listen to your intuition that I can't keep not living my truth, that, you know, I think the truth, anybody can accept the truth so long as you're trying to be open, authentic, from a place of love, being just and fair. You know, there might be people who are sad about it, but I think everybody can understand when people are speaking the truth. This isn't aligned with my truth, and I need to leave this job, or I need to leave this relationship. You know, I shouldn't feel defensive. I shouldn't feel like I have to fight and compete for people to get people to work cooperatively with me. If people are being kind of prideful or egotistical or emotionally cold or detached or bossy or controlling and shadowy Libra energy, then I wish they would move forward with me in a more loving foundation, but they're not willing to. So, with the teapot, deep friendship with someone, we have the Seven of Pentacles, really being careful and really thinking about who we want to invest in moving forward. And the reason it came out is because of the Devil. In order to move forward in life, we have to be willing to face our fears and insecurities. Sometimes we keep repeating an old pattern because we'd rather stay with the devil we know than face our fears and insecurities of investing in new people, because it is the unknown, and the devil represents fear and all those things. It also, the devil can represent people that we're attracted to, but they could be people who require us to face our fears and our insecurities, you know, and the other people might want to invest. For some, they might want to invest in a Capricorn, but they might want to invest in someone who does have fear and insecurity. Some people, like I say, they don't like to be in relationships with people who maintain balance. High vibe Libra is about maintaining your balance. And shadowy people, instead of being truthful and honest and just and fair and authentic in a relationship, they try to manipulate people in a relationship to indulge them, or to stay in a relationship where they give up on their dreams and settle for less than they deserve. And if shadowy people are in a relationship with someone who's doing this work within themselves to maintain balance within themselves, to not play the games, to not do tit for tat, not take the bait, I want to maintain a sense of peace and balance in my life. If you want to act in a way that's petty or jealous or trying to bait me into something I'll regret, I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm going to keep investing in dealing with my own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs to not act in a way that I wouldn't be proud of. So these ones weren't showing themselves. Some people this is what's showing itself. You know, people could have invested in people that they are attracted to for a variety of reasons. You know, we're emotionally complex people. We like the stability. We like the stability. We like the security. You know, we could be attracted to them, but there's just something about it that isn't aligned with our truth for both types of people. It's like, in order for the shadowy people to move forward with the more just and fair and balanced people, they'd have to invest some time, energy, and effort into wondering, why don't I do that? Why do I act emotionally cold or bossy or controlling and do things that hurt the person I'm in a relationship? Some people are doing it and they know that they're manipulative and controlling. They play on other people's... It's kind of like using the love someone has for you to manipulate them. So I don't have to deal with my issues. I'm going to hope that because you have fear of leaving me or being independent of me, that if I do these things, I'm hoping you won't invest in dealing with your own fears and insecurities, and you'll keep investing in me, even though I'm being unloving, unjust, unfair, manipulative, bossy, controlling, cold, And sometimes we start out in a relationship, and, we got to realize that some people are very shadowy. They don't want you to love and believe in yourself. And if they initially get in a relationship with you and you don't love and believe in yourself and you're in a shadowy place, they're like, perfect, you're my kind of person. I'm going to move forward with a relationship with you. Let's get married. Oh, and then I want you to stay in regret. So that way you always look to me as like being the authority figure in your life. And you keep, I like to be in relationships with people who are codependent, fearful, insecure, because then they like it that other people look to them as like, I need to be in a relationship with you to feel balanced or to feel stable or to feel grounded or whatever, And if you start to heal, then they don't like that. And that's when they can start showing their shadowy nature and be more bossy and controlling. And that's when some people are like, oh my gosh, I might have had love for this person, but I don't know if this person ever had love for me. But they could have. It's just that in order to keep moving forward with you, they'd have to deal with their own more worldly nature, materialistic nature, because that's why they could have thought everybody got in relationships was for the status and the image and the money, and they were happy with people maybe being in a relationship with them for those reasons. And if you are more bold and brave and inspired than that, and you really are someone who wants to live your life differently than that, they didn't know if they wanted, to invest in people who face their fears or people who are more about the world. And I think some of the people that we're in these mismatched relationships, well, I think they're thinking of it. Let's see what's going on. Indecisiveness, allowing your life to ramble aimlessly. The Queen of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the Nine of Wands, because of the Knight of Pentacles. Some of you have already been in relationships like this. Some of you already got out of those relationships. The wands can talk about communication. You could have communicated with someone who you think is more just and fair, someone you feel you missed an opportunity with in the past. Right now, you could be kind of waiting to see if they're going to win the battle within themselves. Is their more worldly nature going to win out? Their fear, their insecurity? Or is there more loving nature going to win out? Regardless, I think the high vibe people are in the energy of love. They have done this work within themselves to be more emotionally independent, and they're not willing to give up, how far they've come. And it's kind of like, I've been defensive to maybe moving forward in something new because I was hoping that some of the people in my life that I wanted to have move forward with me would move forward with me. But we can't sit too long because that can be kind of toxic, unhealthy energy. If people were motivated and inspired to be in a relationship with us, they would bring it into the 3D world, is what the Pentacles talk about. And if they're not, we sometimes don't know what people are in. Maybe they don't want to give birth to anything new because they're in a wonderful, loving relationship and they're protecting that relationship. Because sometimes you can just meet people out in the world. You don't even know if they're in a relationship. You could connect with people through Facebook and you don't know if they're in a relationship. But if they're in a loving relationship, they're protecting it from interference, because the truth is that would just cause regret. And they're thinking, if I were to do that, I would be investing in something that's unhealthy and it would be indulgent. And I'm defensive to investing in something that would be me being in my more worldly, lustful, selfish nature. And I'm not going to do that. I have loving people in my life who I think I can have my dreams come into reality, and I'm going to keep defending them. So I'm basically saying, if you ended something and if you could have communicated to someone else, you know, we can wonder for a while what kind of situation they're in. But there comes a point in time that no matter what, I'm moving forward and standing up for having new beginnings. If people don't come with me, I assume there's a good or a bad reason. We live in a world of duality. You know, so some people won't move forward with me because they are people who are in an unhealthy way of being right now, and they're not emotionally independent, and they're maybe not someone who's gone within to be willing to stand up for themselves and what they believe in, and also defensive to investing in love for some of them. They want to live their life from a more worldly view of life. Other people could be in their own situations that are loving. And so we just keep moving forward in the energy of love, being emotionally independent, and we keep, you know, treating other people in the world with love and respect to find the people in the world who aren't in shadowy energy. You know, for some, there won't be a reconciliation. You know, you're not reconciling with your shadow nature. And sometimes some people make you don't come and get in a relationship right away because they think, oh, well, they'll be defensive to believing in themselves, and they'll look back to me even though I didn't move forward with them in a positive way. And I think they'll be in regret, and they'll kind of come back and do, it's kind of like somebody wanting to be in shadowy energy to be in a relationship with them. And it's like, no, I'm moving forward with or without you. So if you want to be up here in my future, then if I have already communicated that I was willing to invest in you and you stayed kind of in your ego, well, see ya. I guess you aren't someone I will be moving forward with, because I'm only moving forward with people who, once I reached out and spoke my truth about any regrets I had in the past, how I could have invested in shadowy ways of being, because I hadn't learned to be more independent of the world or whatever, and I have learned these lessons, and I'm moving forward. If you're not coming with, then maybe you haven't learned some of those lessons, and now I've learned some lessons. You know, I mean, we can kind of go kind of in life. You can be moving forward with people in life, and sometimes some people are more ahead than you, and you kind of do a roundabout to learn some lessons. Well, that person could have moved forward in life and they seemed further ahead than you, but then they kind of got stuck in a roundabout, and then you learned some lessons, and now you're here. And in order for them to move forward with you, they'd have to get out of like the whirlpool roundabout emotionally that they got caught up in. And it's like, and maybe they're not ready to get out of it because maybe they're not meant to. Anyway, the people who are willing to speak the truth and invest in facing their fears are the people who will move forward with you. The people who won't be investing in you. You got to be careful, because some people do want to invest in you just to indulge in you again, because what they went and invested in was unhealthy, and they didn't indulge them maybe the way they wanted to be indulged, and they know you're a very loving person, and they want to come back and indulge in you, and you would stand up for yourself like, no, because you're still in shadowy Virgo energy. You're still the same person you were, and I'm not the same person I was. It's kind of like if people were in a mismatched relationship, and they got out of the relationship. Well, the high vibe person has been doing all this work within themselves to heal even more, to believe in themselves even more, face more fears and insecurities than they had before. And the other person who is in shadowy energy, thinking they didn't have to do love, they could have things work out for them, operating from pride and ego, and then it didn't, and now they're mad, or they want to try to manipulate that person to do the relationship the way they want, that they're going to make you an offer to make that person in their ego so that they'll come get in a relationship with them. The whole thing is, if you know somebody who is prideful, egotistical, materialistic, self-centered, really doesn't do love, they might come back to use you as a pawn to try to get someone else to, basically, you've already learned that you're not on the same page. If you know you're not on the same page, stand up for yourself. They haven't changed. They're the same person they were. So tell us about the dog close up. as the reason for the reading in reverse. The Magician, the Four of Swords, the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, the King of Wands, because of the Temperance card. Now, we can have people from our past, and we can meet people in our future that we should be defensive to. And we stay connected in with our intuition. You can be a very loving person, but you've learned that you need to protect your more loving nature and be more practical and grounded. Because if you're a very loving person, you know, if you've already learned those lessons, that I can have a tendency to enable people in their poor behavior, and if I don't want to get burned by the devil again, I've got to learn to stand up for myself and take the lessons that I've learned from that past life experience. And there's some people in the world who just try to manipulate people. Again, in the Four of Swords, of Libra energy, of the King of Swords, and people who live more from their mind than their heart. They're people who, it's always trying to manipulate people to get what they want. And they're operating more from their ego emotionally. In the Queen of Wands, Leo energy of ego. I know. I'm going to use these things of the world to try to get someone who's an emotionally nurturing, creative, inspired person to balance things out with me. And if you already know and have learned this valuable lesson emotionally about people like that, even though you might be attracted to them, have love for them, your more grounded, practical nature is standing in front of your fiery nature of Aries energy to say no. If I'm already in a loving, nurturing relationship, why would I do that? I would be aligning with the devil. I'd be selfish and greedy and prideful and egotistical. I'm not going to do that. If you're single, there might be a part of you that would like to go get in a relationship with that person. Again, there's similarities about you, but the whole thing is, you're going to have different people as you move forward and different people you're going to approach. There could be a lot of similarities, similar wounding, similar attractiveness or whatever, but it's to get to balance things out, to get to know what the truth of them is, what drives and motivates them. Is it ego and image? They're looking to you to heal them because they don't do the work within themselves. Other people can look to other people just like they turn to drugs and alcohol. You're supposed to make me feel better. You're supposed to make all my problems go away. And then if they move forward with you in a relationship and their issues bubble up again, oh, well, you must be the wrong person. I have to go find someone else. My issues are bubbling up, my fear, my insecurities, my whatever. It's like, that's because I was never the answer to your problems. But some people look to other people as the solution. Oh, if I get in a relationship with you, all my problems will go away. I won't be fearful. I won't be insecure. I won't be immature and indulgent anymore. Whatever. And it's like, and then when their issues bubble up, they blame you because they never took responsibility for it themselves anyway. And which people are just trying to create an illusion that they've healed, but they might just want to indulge. They're really defensive to actually a long-term investment. It's just about indulging. I don't want you to go indulge in someone else before I indulge in you, but then I might let you go. Because I was really just about indulging. And which people really have done the inner work to be emotionally independent of the past, who have learned to stand up for themselves and speak their truth. That I made mistakes in the past. I'm a fallible human being. I have learned to love and believe in myself, and I'm not willing to give up on my dreams. I have healed from past pain and heartbreak. I have learned how to fill my own cup emotionally instead of looking to other people to fill my cup emotionally, where I just indulge in a relationship. Who really has invested in emotionally growing and maturing themselves? Who want to be in relationships with other people who have emotionally matured themselves? And I think you're going to keep moving forward. And if there's people who come from your past, you're going to listen to your intuition about them. I think you're going to stay in the energy of like love and compassion, that people are fallible human beings, but you're not the naive, gullible person you were before. It's like if people aren't offering me a solid, stable beginning in truth and love and justice and fairness and balance, no. Not interested. Been there, done that. That doesn't work out. I end up getting backstabbed and betrayed. If they have done the work, people from your past or people you might meet as you move forward, you're healed. If people aren't investing in you, okay, I'm going to keep looking to the people in my future to find the bold, brave, emotionally nurturing, loving, healed people that have gotten out of situations that they're in, who are open to being in a long-term relationship. So what do people who harness high vibe Gemini energy, what do they not see coming? The Tower, because of the Seven of Swords. When you operate from a foundation of love and you keep not indulging people in shadowy behavior, kind of like chasing after them in a way, it's like I'm manifesting truth and love. If you want to come with, come with. If not, bye. The Tower card is like detaching from a foundation. You're not in the Seven of Swords going to be deceived and manipulated anymore. And there's a lot of people who don't want you to be unstable, let go of your loving nature so they can create an illusion with you, indulge in a relationship with you, where they don't have to be just and fair and healed and balanced. And you harnessed high vibe Seven of Swords. You listen to your intuition. You do have a dream, but I am not going to keep investing in people who didn't go within to become more independent, to stand up for themselves. If you want to live more from your mind than your heart, make your life more about being indulged, indulging others, money, materialism, whatever, you go at it. I'm letting go of that foundation. I'm not caught up in the illusion of the world anymore. I'm listening to my intuition to guide me. And when my intuition tells me it's time to move on, that the people I might have offered love to and communicated with, that if they're not willing to move forward with me, then apparently they either have a different dream, or they're in a loving relationship that they should hold on to, or they're trying to deceive and manipulate me. And I'm not going to be deceived and manipulated. I believe in myself. If it's not you, then God must have someone else planned for me. And I'm moving on. And other people will see that you're not being manipulated. And some of those people will let go of their more ego view of life, or, because people can have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, where it's more about them being indulged for some reason. And it's like, no, this is going to be a just and fair and balanced relationship where the divine is kind of what we go to maintain balance within ourselves and this relationship. Otherwise, it's a faulty foundation if it's not built on love. Some people might come towards you because they see that, some people will even come towards you because they do see you've let go of an old foundation. Some people wanted to invest in you, but they were holding back from investing in you until they were sure that you had detached from that old foundation, that you really had done this inner work to move forward in yourself. Because who wants to get in a relationship with someone who hasn't really emotionally detached and become emotionally independent? Because then if you get in a relationship with them, they could still be looking to someone in their past to make them an offer to reconcile. It's like, no, I don't want to be in a relationship with you if you're still looking to someone in your past. And some people see that you have completely detached from being manipulated by your ego, your fear, other people in your life who weren't being truthful and honest and just and fair, who were trying to manipulate you. And now that they see you've completely broken free, that's when someone will make you an offer. And some of you are going to be making other people's offers because you have completely broken free. You know your dream can't come into reality with those people who live their life that way. Tell us about the people who harness some shadowy Gemini energy. What's coming up for them that they might not see coming up? So while you're moving forward in a new phase of life and living your life differently, shadow energy talks about repeating an old pattern because they either didn't see the truth, don't want to see the truth, have some more lessons to learn. The Page of Pentacles, because of the Emperor. Well, for one, the Emperor in Aries energy does talk about the self. There's still some people who still think they're the boss. I don't have to listen to my intuition. I don't have to do love. I don't have to be just and fair. I can make my life all about the world and me. I think if I work with the things of the world, it'll work out just fine. But the only thing is, I think this world is set up for us to learn lessons in life. We've all had to learn lessons throughout our life, you know, and grow and mature ourselves and put away some of our more childish ways of being and to face some of our fears and insecurities. And we're meant to do that throughout our life. Life is about learning lessons. And I think about the truth about learning to love ourselves enough to be free, to not be enslaved to the world and our ego and our fear and money and materialism. The divine wants us to get our divine inheritance. The divine knows that we need money and stability and security in our life. But if we want to think we can work with the world and have it, we can have all the things of the world. We just won't have grown ourselves to our full potential, and we'll know it, that we kind of aligned with our more worldly, immature nature. But we might have status and position of power, but we're still maybe not in relationships based on love. We might have people willing to be in a relationship with us because we're good looking or attractive or have social clout or money or power. But are they in a relationship with us because of love? Are we free? Are we enslaved and oppressed by our pride and our ego? Did we invest in the devil instead of being willing to learn lessons and climb that mountain to overcome our fears and insecurities, to not give up on our dreams, to really be someone who believes in ourselves, who's also loving and warm and nurturing and supportive in the world, in relationships with other people who are emotionally loving and nurturing to us? Or do we just have people investing in us because of ego or image or status? And what some of those people might not see coming, for the high vibe people, they didn't see that the high vibe people had that hopeful, believing nature within themselves. You know, we're either aligning with our more immature nature or we're aligned with our more hopeful, believing inner child nature. They didn't think that the loving people in the world would face their fears and insecurities to detach from someone who harnessed shadowy Aries energy to go invest in people who harness, in the King of Wands, high vibe Aries energy. They didn't see that coming. And another thing they don't see coming is that someone might want to invest in them, possibly a Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn, and if it's not those zodiac signs, it's just someone else who's more aligned with their worldly nature who wants to be in a relationship with them. But it might be because I don't want to do love either. I had been in relationships with people who wanted me to grow and mature myself, but I kind of operate from my pride and ego, and I have these patterns of ways of being in relationship that I haven't seen the truth of, and it's caused regret in my relationships. But I do want to look like I have all the things of the world, So I'm going to make an offer to someone else who also is defensive of healing and seeing the truth and being authentic and loving and hopeful and believing in the world, because I want to look like I'm a boss in the world, that I'm not willing to let go of my more worldly nature to believe in my dreams. So, yeah, they might have someone who invests in them, but the person who invests in them, they want a counterpart to the emperor would be an empress. They want to look like they're high level, maybe more for ego, but they're defensive of letting go of their egoic nature to take action in truth and love. So they have unresolved issues from their past they haven't dealt with. And so I just think they'll kind of get in a relationship with someone who's on the same page as them. And the high vibe people are getting in relationships with people who are on the same page as them, who've let go of being deceived by their fear, their insecurity, their more immature, indulgent, worldly nature, to invest in the next level of a more healing, loving relationship. So there you go, Gemini energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.